Hey, it's Abdul. Welcome to the Biostatistics Crush Course. This is something that I've been looking forward to making for a very, very long time, and something that a lot of my mentees have also been asking for, so I'm finally happy to say that it's here. Now notice how it doesn't say crash course, it says crush course, and that's by design. I want this playlist to be able to help anyone, including you, crush the biostats portion of the USMLE exam, regardless if it's step 1 or if it's step 2. Now, during my experience as a step 1 and step 2 mentor over the past few years, I've consistently heard from many of my mentees just how dreadful the biostats portion of the exam is. And that's especially true if you're going into steps without a background in medical research or without a background in biostats in general. And honestly, I kind of get it. It's scary. Step 2 has that big, nasty drug ad, which everyone seems to be super worried about. And honestly, that's very valid. That was also me. I remember being in your shoes and having to finally deal with biostats as I reached the end of my UWorld question bank. And I can tell you it was not very fun. And I could not find a lot of resources that were geared towards my room temperature IQ. So I decided, you know what, might as well make it myself. Now, the primary goal of this playlist is to take you from a place where biostats is overwhelming, it's confusing, it doesn't make sense, to someone who can deal with any question, any biostats question very comfortably without breaking a sweat. Now, I do believe that biostats is one of the best ways to get consistent and easy marks in the exam. It just requires a bit of preparation during your study journey, but once you have that pattern, you have a bit of practice, you get those reps in, it should be a very reliable source of free marks during the exam. And that's particularly important if you're aiming for that 260 plus, that 270 plus. Now, while this playlist was primarily geared towards people sitting MBME exams, and a lot of the work through questions that we're going to be doing are for step 1, step 2, as someone who had the unique privilege of sitting the Canadian exams and the British exams, if you are sitting those exams, then this playlist should also be useful to you. It's the same kind of content at the end of the day. Now, this section may not be that relevant right now, but it might be more relevant in the future. I do eventually want to make a playlist that is more research focused for medical researchers who want to know a bit more about the biostats that kind of like underpin their studies, but that's going to be down later. This playlist is really more board exam oriented, is more geared towards the steps. So just take that into consideration in case you want something a bit more. It's still going to be very focused to what MBME want you to know and do. However, to keep things fresh, exciting, and interesting and relevant, throughout this playlist, you're going to find a bunch of kind of like callbacks and references to how the things that we are studying applies to medical research in general. Now, this is ultimately an orientation video, so let's talk structure. This playlist is going to be broken down into 3 sections. Section 1 is just going to be the basic statistical principles. It's going to be kind of like a good introduction to biostats and it serves to form the foundation of everything that we're going to do afterwards. Section 2 is epidemiology, understanding all the different types of studies and the typical questions that NBME loves to ask. What's the difference between a cohort and a case control, etc. And finally, the most important section, the most high yield, where most of the questions come from. And I said most way too many times. But this is going to be section 3, interpreting medical evidence. Think of calculating the absolute risk reduction, the number needed to treat, the number needed to harm, all those calculation questions that you see on the NBME exams. This is where section 3 is going to discuss and explain all those topics. Now, if you're looking at the thumbnails and you're trying to navigate which sections is which, here's a quick kind of like orientation. Just look at the top right corner of the thumbnail and you'll see exactly where you are in terms of the general kind of like structure. And of course, as you can probably guess, I love the number 3. It's one of my favorite numbers. And each video will also be broken down into 3 sections: a basic core concept that explains a theory behind a particular topic. And sometimes, but not all the times, we're going to go and solve a question together and apply what we've learned through a solved question. And finally, in practice, looks at how this topic relates to medical research in general and how it ties with everything that we do in research. And of course, as always, priority is there to keep things as short and snappy as possible, but also giving us enough time to explain topics in a very clear, intuitive, and fun way. Now, without any further ado and without any further yap, let's just jump right in.